look joyful. You need to draft that energy from that little experience in the midst of all that you're going through, and see and feel the joy that them two birds just have right there. So you see that? That's how you win. When a winning moment levels up to a greater winning moment. So if you every time you smile through a trial, at the entrance of each breath, if you can reverence that entrance of that breath there, and know that that's a winning moment for you, because you needed that next breath more than you needed anything else that's going on. One step forward, you're at right there. Because in that moment, you have totally put away the mask that you're wearing, and you have come back to your natural self. Because your natural self is not a problem. You know? The self of man has never had problems. It's the man that has the problem. The self does not have any problem. So each time you return to yourself, you have to leave the problem to go back to yourself. And every moment that you return to yourself is a winning moment. And the more winning moments you have, it's the more winning moments you will have. You have to just value them, acknowledge them, recognize them, value them, smile, laugh. Laugh when you shouldn't be laughing. Deliberately on purpose. Yeah, man, I saw you win, Sir Chris.
Absolutely so, Sir T. Yeah, man. No fear, you know? No you know, illusion should make you afraid. You understand? Because it is what it is. It's an illusion. So, death, hell, all these different things that are put out there to make you afraid. They work because you have an imagination that can imagine these things. I be thinking because you're imagining it, then you get the feeling that this thing does have some kind of a hold or reality to it when you're the one making it real, when it's not. You understand what he said? You know, everything you we're saying today, everything you seek, you've already found. You understand? Why? Because it's in the form of desire. Everything you seek, you have already found because it's in the form of desire. So if you see yourself somewhere in your mind's eye, that's where you found yourself. You understand? That's
And
where that's
you've already found it. The thing
yeah.
that you see, you have already found it. You just have to be still now and allow the thing
Mhm.
to find you.
Yeah,
You
be
have
still.
found it, you know. You
Hmm.
have to just be still and allow it to find its way to you.
Hmm.
So that's where it is. If it was not already existing somewhere
Hmm.
in consciousness, you couldn't have thought about it. It couldn't be resident in your psyche if it
Yeah.
never exists somewhere. So you have
Hmm.
to level up now. And how do you level up? You level up by relaxing, be still.
Yeah.
Be still and know. Remember now, be still and believe that you are God. Be still and know, because when you're still, in the stillness of the mind it's talking about, when the mind is
You
still,
know. Hmm.
then you know. Then you know. And when you know, you don't need no evidence. You only need evidence to accept the thing where you believe in. You don't need no evidence to accept the thing that you know.
You are the
So when you
evidence,
know
your
that this thing,
knowledge.
you are the evidence. When you know that this thing is done, you don't need no evidence to know that it is done. You
Mm.
already know that. The evidence will come along later. If it's something where you believe now, well, you have to go see the evidence before you. That's why I can't understand how but not even also religious people, because I was the religious one. For all religiosity, that was me. And them hours upon a Sunday morning, me in a church, long time, long sleeve shirt and cuff link and necktie and all these things. And I preach people in it.
Hmm.
How did I believe a thing that I didn't have any proof of? What was going on with me? Because that's what you do in religion. You believe, you anchor your belief on something that you truly, you know in yourself that you have no proof of it. It's, I'm going to tell you something. We're all actors, but nobody acts more than religious people in. Because religious people, apart from the natural acting that you have to act in this natural world because you're wearing a mask, religious people put on a second mask. Not just the mask of being a human being, but the mask of being a perfect human being. That's what religious people do. A lady, I was yesterday evening in my day, in my backyard, and my daughter come to the backyard and said, Daddy, one lady out of front said she don't know you. And I said, she said, oh, she said, such and such mother, that girl your mother. I said, but me and I used to go to church together. She said that me I tell her, I said, you and I used to go to the same church, but she said she don't know you. Because I left that church. Well, not me left. Them run me out of that church 12, 13 years ago. Them try out. All right, so I walk around. When I walk around, as soon as I walk around, it was kind of start. She sitting at the vehicle. She ain't that. As soon as I start walk up, she roll on her window and she see me. And she said, oh, are you? And I say, yeah, man, me. She said, you're gone back in our world. He said, yeah, man, I see you one way, you know. I wish I had a world, I think, you know, different thing. So I'm just showing you religious people how quickly they judge. Now, this lady has not seen or heard from me in 13, 14 years. All she see right now is me walking out of my backyard because my daughter and her daughter are friends, and her daughter is telling her that she knows me, and she said she don't know me. So when she see me, her first comment is, you're gone back in our world, man. And I say, yeah, man, I mean, I see your world where you know.
So she knows
No,
you got
what
back in
gives?
that world now.
All the woman sees a man walk out in backyard, I come greet her at the front, and by my, I don't know what about me look so worldly. I don't know. But you're gone back out into the world. And I'm just showing you religious people mindset where they feel entitled to judge. Because you just judge me right now because you don't see me in a million years and you try to locate me and place me in a place. Where,
Yeah, oh, she knows you're not pastor somewhere. Yeah? Oh, she know that.
But
Eh?
there again, like I said, and I mean, it didn't bother me none. For me, I'm just relating it to you guys just to show you the mindset that become resident in a religious people mind once them start walk with that thing that them feel like they are separate from other people and these my friends. Just know that it's just one eye. That person that you, me, if one man die, hell, everybody die. I promise you. If one man is in hell, everybody did it. And if one man in a Zion, with them call live now, whatever, everybody did it too. Because we all came the same, we all live the same, we all live the same. Be not fooled or deceived, man. We all live the same. My struggle might not be your struggle, but you have your one.
You
know, but
different view from the one, you know, that's all. Many
here in this
different angles.
Yeah, but in this existence where we work with right here, so we don't have time for judge, not even yourself we don't have to judge. Just live, just be. Time for that. Just be and experience what you're being. And when you do it and it prove itself in performance, you don't care where another person think of your way of living. Because your way of living is proving itself in performance right before your very eye. The greatest blasphemy I know is if I did turn back and see how my life has evolved in the years that I left that church there, since I'm try out. If I did look upon the way how my life has evolved now and start credit it to a Jesus or somebody else, no, that's what blasphemy would be. I realize that everything that has come my way, both good and bad, it was constructed in my mind. So how could I turn that away? And in them 13 years, so much has changed. I mean, not that material accomplishments, but I mean, look where I found myself. I find myself. I know who I am.
That is your greatest accomplishment.
Yeah, man, I can help another man find for himself. I'm at a place now where I can help another man find for himself, which is the commission that is upon us. You know, you find food, you help a man find food. You know, and earthly accomplishments here, my life is just easier. Let's say that we get it. My life easier than Because right now, I can sit down in my car and that church. See, me have to get up this man and be and put on long sleeve shirt and gone down a church and deceive people. While we over here, right, so now sharpening each other. Yeah, so be comfortable with who you are and where you're at, and just move it.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, man. Wonderful. Sunday we have upon us again to continue this journey of awakening. As you know, it's always waking up, always rising through consciousness, different levels of awareness, different levels of awakening states. And every Sunday we come here, we're in a different level. We're not the same persons we we were last week as we are today. And last month, last year, and many years ago, we are so different every time we commune because we're tapping into different levels of awareness. And you'll find that things, that are downloaded to you now, um, they weren't downloaded to you a year ago, even a month ago, even a day ago. You're always increasing in your remembrance, and that's really what it is. It's just remembering, reattaching, recognizing our truest self that when we came here, we, forgot to remember. That was the deal to don't remember who you are, forget to remember. But there will become a time when you have to remember to forget who you are being now so that you can remember who you are. You understand? And make that journey back to the beginning before you came here. Or our scripture says, make me one with thee, before the world was. You understand? As you're going back to you before you came here to this world. So today we're going to talk about, everything that you seek, you have already found. It sounds kind of backwards or paradoxical and foolish to the eyes who cannot see, but it really is the truth. So we're going to play a Neville tape for you guys today. That it's a short tape that's going to exemplify what we're talking about here today. So again, everything that you seek, you have already found. You've found it for the mere fact that you are able to desire it. Anything you desire is something that you have found. Again, anything that you desire, for whatever reason, it just come upon you, is because you have found it. Why you have found it is because who you truly are, which is not this body, you are consciousness, and everything lies within consciousness. So who is finding what? It's not the body, it's consciousness finding the many desires within itself. You understand? You are finding the many desires within yourself. It's within you. So it's already with you. So it's not something that um, you are going to have to find. It's something that you already know that you have. But the desires has come upon you. A couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week or the week before, we talked about this angel that comes down once a year in scripture, it's mentioned, comes down once a year and disturbs the pool. Now we hear that story and think it's an angel with wings that flies down to disturb some particular pool that's over there in the Middle East somewhere. But this pool is your consciousness. And the angel that comes down is the desire that comes down upon you. Once you get this desire, you are now disturbed. Not disturbed in a way where you are mad or angry or um, you know, irritable and stuff like that. No, not that disturbance. Disturbance meaning you have an urge now to, you are no longer reserved to stay in the state that you were already in. You are now prone to move towards a different state. So now you have to move. Now you have to stop doing what you were doing and do or become something else other than what you already were. And so now you are disturbed. You will not stop until you find this desire. Okay? You will not stop until you find it. So because of that, you cannot sit still. You're no disturbed. You're no um, given something else to manifest. And so that is the angel that has come upon you by way of desire. Okay? And today we're going to go more into it. So I'm going to also read from the book again, the 5 lessons, a particular section of the Bible that's going to touch on that somewhat. But I'm going to play the video for you guys, or the audio for you guys first, and we will come back and forth and relate our findings within this audio. Okay, so again, our topic for today, for those of you out there in the YouTube world, watching or listening, everything you seek, you have already found. Um, we know that you don't seek something unless you're trying to find it, but in consciousness, there is nothing that is not already with you. There is nothing that you seek that you have not already found or not already have. Okay? And we're just going to make that very clear today with this lesson. All right, so let's get into it. Let's see if I can there it is. And this particular title is called Close the Gap. So we're closing the gap on what we were programmed to believe, that everything we desire is located somewhere over there, far, far and away from us in time and space. Okay? And there's no such thing. Everything is eternally right now. And all you have to do is claim it. So we're going to close the gap today to discover that everything we seek, we have already found it. That's why we seek it. Take a listen.
Tonight, I want to tell you something that will disturb everything you think you know about getting what you want. There is no journey to your desires, not because the road is short, not because the work is easy, but because there is no road at all. The destination you have been exhausting yourself trying to reach it is not ahead of you. It has never been ahead of you. It exists right now, in this very moment, in the only place anything has ever existed, consciousness itself. And the moment you truly understand that, not intellectually, not as a pleasant idea to carry around, but in your bones, in your blood, in the marrow of your being, you will stop traveling and you will arrive. Some time ago, a young woman approached me after a lecture. I can still see her clearly. She was beautiful, intelligent, and utterly exhausted. Not the exhaustion of someone who has worked hard, the exhaustion of someone who has been running toward a horizon that keeps moving. Neville, she said, I have been doing everything, the visualizations, the affirmations, the feeling, 8 months, and I feel further away than when I started. When will I finally get there? I listened carefully, not just to her words, but to the consciousness beneath her words. And I noticed something that changed everything for her. She kept saying there. Her desires lived there. She was here. And between here and there stretched this great aching distance she was trying desperately to cross. I said to her gently, my dear, you have made a fundamental error. Not in your technique, not in your effort. You have made an error in your geography. She looked at me, puzzled. You believe your desired life exists somewhere else, I continued. In a future place, on the other side of time. as if it were a city you must travel to, and you are still standing at the station, waiting for the train. But consciousness is not a train station. In consciousness, there is no here and there. There is only here. There is no now and then. There is only now. Your ideal life does not need to be reached. It needs to be recognized. The difference between those two words, reached and recognized, is the difference between a life of exhaustion and a life of grace. Think carefully about what desire actually is. When you desire something, truly desire it, what is happening? Most people believe desire is a signal of absence, a proof of emptiness, a gap between who you are and who you want to be. But I tell you, desire is recognition. You cannot desire a thing that does not exist. The very fact that you can imagine it, feel it, hunger for it, means it already exists in the infinite field of possibility. You are not inventing your dreams. You are.
Right. Let's touch on that briefly. You just mentioned the word possibility. All right, so that's where we're going to draw from. The infinite possibilities. Now, you heard that this young lady was placing her desire far and away from her geographically. As you just heard right there, that is the biggest mistake or misstep that we have made or taken when we have a desire. Think about it. We have a desire and we place the desire in space and in time. What does that mean? It means that it's in a place not geographically near to us. We're not there. So let's just say you desire to be in, maybe Asia somewhere. Maybe you want to go to Japan or the Philippines or one of these places, right? Automatically, you are going on a time difference. You're seeing that you're here and it's over there. You're saying whatever time you're saying, no, it's saying whatever time they're saying. And it's how many miles? Hundreds of miles, thousands of miles away from you. And so you are creating a separation just by simply seeing it in space and in time. You're seeing the distance, you're seeing the time it's going to take to get there, and you're seeing also the lack of funds that you may need that you don't have now. So you're doing so many different things that is making the gap wider and wider. The gap was already wide enough, but the fact that you are now placing all these limitations between yourself and that desire, you are now widening the gap even wider than it already was. All right. Now, to fix that, you have to, or to close the gap, you have to bring there here and make it right now. Okay? What does that mean? You have to see yourself already in this particular location, having the experience, rather than hoping that you can one day have the experience and have the money and have the time and have everything lined up before you make that journey. When what Neville teaches us is that we should make the journey present. It is already happened, not happening, but already happened. You are in Barbados, as Neville was told by Abdullah, and you went there first class. So you have to see yourself already in the location, having the experience, whatever that is, and make it vividly real. Use your five senses. That's how you make it vivid. You're going to hear something, hear the language that they speak. You're going to see the way they dress, the cars they drive, the you're going to smell the air or the freshness of the air or their beaches or the food. You're going to touch something tangible like the building or maybe a cup of juice or a bottle of water or their money. You understand? And you're going to taste what their food tastes like. Okay? You're going to imagine what that tastes like and really, really exercise, or I like to say, exercise your five senses, the five wise senses, the five wise virgins. Understand? They're the senses of your imagination, and they're wise because they only focus on the internal, the state of being, not the external, the state awaiting to experience. Okay, you are experiencing it right now from within your own consciousness, your own imagination, but you are having the experience within as if you were having it right now. As you do that, the more and more you do that, you are closing the gap, closing the gap. You are no longer wishing and hoping or seeing this thing far and away from you, or the difficulty of having the experience in terms of the money that is going to require. Because in most times, most instances, you don't have the money or you don't have the time for whatever reason, might be job related and stuff like that. So you're using all these different things that your conscious mind really, really does know, and there's no denying that. But your senses is what's really denying the reality or the possibility. Let's use that word. Let's use that word. Your senses are denying the possibility of making it happen. Okay, so your senses tells you, well, it's way over there. Um, it's a long journey. Um, the money is not right now. The time is not right now. All these different things you're looking at to justify why it cannot happen right now. And then you think to yourself, hopefully, not even certainly, but hopefully, there will come a time when I can make that trip, you know? And you're just dependent on some luck or someone to assist you and so on and so forth. When all you have to do is assist your own self by using your imagination, but you have to place yourself in the present moment as having the experience right now. All right. And then Neville teaches us to do this thing daily. Okay. It is on purpose. Why? Because what you're doing in imagination is you are assuming this will, or assuming this wish already fulfilled. Okay. But because the conscious mind and the senses are so stubborn, you have to convince. You're not trying to convince your imagination, because everything to your imagination already is. You're convincing the senses and the conscious mind that the experience is already a fact. It's already hardened into fact. Okay? You are convincing it to accept that this is true, that this is real. Okay? And so it's a process that you have to do over and over and over and over. Okay? Now, as you do that, you start to catch the feeling or the mood that this really is happening. Think about it. How many times have we're hungry or something like that, and somebody's talking about food, or we start to think about food, and your mouth starts to salivate. Your your saliva starts to spew out, and the food is nowhere near you. Nowhere near now, but your body is reacting to it as if it is. Okay. Um, how many times have we thought about, something that we're going to entangle with, maybe it's a game that you're going to go and play and all this type of stuff, or a friend that you're going to see or haven't seen in a while or whatever, but you get all this excitement. Your body, gets excited, you start to have the experience right there, and you haven't even had it yet, but the body is starting to react to this encounter, right? Even if it's something that you fear, that one even works more so than anything else. You have a fear of something, and your body starts to react to it. You might start to get nervous, shaky, tremble, all type of different things. And it's not even happening. It's just in your mind, and your body is reacting to it. So it's the same thing we're talking about here, wherein you want to get to the point where the body and your senses, the conscious mind, feels, to use that word, as if you're having the experience. You want to get to that state. It make it feel so vividly real, so when you come back from the imagination or imagining this state, you are almost in shock that you were not there. It's just like a dream. When you're having a dream, you are there as far as you're concerned. And when you wake up, you are surprised, you are shocked that you were just having a dream because it felt so real. So we want to make this what do I call it now? This practice of going into your imagination just as real as when you are dreaming at night. That's how we want to make it. So much so that when you're in it, nobody can come tell you, say, you are not there. As far as you're concerned, you are there. Okay? You are in Barbados. You are in Japan. You are in Dubai. You are in wherever you desire to be. You're in this new car, this new house, this new job, this new lifestyle. You are in it, and you're thinking from it, you're acting from it, you're doing everything from it. You're not thinking that you are there. You are actually having the experience. You are you know seeing things, hearing things, tasting, smelling, touching. You're exercising all of your senses. And as you do that consistently, we are told, you do this consistently, eventually your subconscious is going to be impressed because you now have the feeling. And the subconscious only is going to be impressed once you consciously have the feeling. You understand? And once you have the feeling, the subconscious fuses with the desire and then seeks the bridges of incidents that is going to make that happen. Whether it be you're going to get the time off from work, you're going to come to you're going to find yourself with the money, you understand? And you're going to find yourself in the place or in the thing or the experience that you want to have. All these bridges of incidents are going to manifest, but you need not concern yourselves with how it's going to manifest or how the bridges are going to be formed, because the bridges cannot be formed until you make the experience in your imagination real enough to where accept it and you feel it. You understand? And once that is felt, you are now going to be walking on these bridges of incidents without even knowing that's what you're doing. Okay? You won't even know. Because sometimes the bridges of incidents are not going to be what you expected, or what you, it will look almost sometimes against your desire. It won't make any sense. It will look like you're taking a step forward and two step backwards. You understand? Um, as I was telling a friend of mine yesterday, who's seeking to buy a home and stuff like that, I was giving an example that, you know, you in your mind, you already have ideas that you think is going to make it happen, but you have a deeper self that knows how everything is going to happen. Okay, and that's the higher self. That is the wiser self, the wisdom side of you that knows how these things are going to happen. So as you're planning these things in your conscious mind, they're going to happen, or how you think it's going to happen, it's never going to go that way, because you're not that wise. The conscious mind is not that wise. You understand? Um, so this is where they get the term from. While man a plan, gotta wipe out. It does not mean that your ideas are being dismantled, or um, taken away by the so-called God. It's just a terminology that was misconstrued. It really means that the conscious mind, who is often associated with man, or the flesh, as it's planning its deeds or ways to attain something, the subconscious, um, once it's convinced how that this person, or this one desiring, is really, really feeling this desire, whatever the case may be, and have the mood, or have the assumption that it's factual, it has a different way how it's going to go about attaining it. But you consciously, you have your way that you think is going to work out. You already know that within yourself it's happened. I have it. I got it. But at the same time, you in your ignorance have your own ways of how you think is going to happen or should. But the subconscious habits is wise, so wise that it knows, no, it's not going to work that way. It's going to work this way. So as things are working out, as you walk in these bridges of incidents that the subconscious lays out, you're going to be like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? They've lowered my hours, or they've laid me off, or all these different things. You're going to be wondering what's really going on. I was trying to buy this house. I know I'm laid off, or my hours are minimized, or all these different things you're going to encounter, and it's going to go completely against what you were desiring. I remember, when was it, 98? No, 2008. I have this great plan. I had my house. I I gave up the house, gave up my cars, all these different things, right? I was going, what do you call it? Addition by subtraction. So I'm subtracting all these things from my life. So I'm looking at how much more money I'm going to have now. Once I don't have the house to pay for anymore, the cars, all these different things, right? And I was the only one working at the time, right? So I'm looking at all the money I'm going to have now. And by the end of the year, I end up losing my job. I'm like, man, how did this happen? I was getting ready now to start save some money. And next thing we know, I'm out of a job. Just like that. I had this great plan all these years to recover all the money I've put into all these different things. I'm not going to be saving this money, because I've got to a level in the job where I was making good money. And I know I am taking it back by minimizing all my expenses, right? And just basically starting over. It's like what do I call it now? like my own way of refinancing our bankruptcy, if to use that word, right? So, anyways, that happened and I lost my job. So I had to start all the way over. I found myself I went back to college. Um, I ended up going to cosmetology school. I didn't have my barber license. So, and because of all of that, I found myself in a new direction. I went back to cutting hair full time, which I was only doing part time at the time. But all these things led me down to the path I'm in now, wherein I ended up getting my license, which made it easier for me to start my barbershop, easier for me to start the business, you know. But prior to that, I could not see how that was going to even happen because I had no intentions of going to school for no license. Zero. For me, it was a waste of time. But it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened because within 2 years of me losing my job, I had my license and I was in a barbershop working, getting the experience of owning a barbershop or running a barbershop. And at the same time, you know, I was learning, to start over without all the expenses that I had that was holding me down and stuff like that. I ended up filing bankruptcy, all the different things that I did, but that ended up, if I had not gone through what I went through, I would have never gone to that. So I ended up cleaning my slate completely with everything. And it was the best thing that had ever happened to me, at that time. But in my conscious mind, I could not see it. That was not my plan. So I was planning all these different things, but my subconscious, being God, was wiping out all of that to do a different and better um, way of getting to my desires and stuff like that. And looking back, knowing what I know now, um, it worked out for the better. Me losing that job, which I loved, um, but considering the 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 level I'm at now and stuff like that, I would have never gotten there if I still had that job. You know, so a lot of things was for the better, but the conscious mind cannot see it. That is for the better. So you're going to experience controversial things. So that's what you think consciously. They're going against your desire. And I'm telling you here, I'm here to tell you now that it is not. And you have to be consciously aware that these are just working on for your better. These are working on for your better good. Um, you have to claim it when things are going so-called downward or out of spiral or whatever the case may be. You have to maintain the 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 desire. You have to keep that in front of your mind's eye. You have to be focused on that only and not on the things that are going on because you're going to catch the mood of whatever these things are giving off. If it's anxiety, fear, whatever, you're going to be creating more and more of that. So you have to keep your mind steadfast, like Abdullah told Neville, after Neville told him, I cannot see how this is going to work out. And all Abdullah told Neville was, you are in Barbados. Why he said that? He just want Neville to keep the focus on Barbados. Do not worry about the reason why you haven't had the money yet, or you haven't seen any signs of it yet. Just keep the focus on your desire. Okay? Because if you focus on everything that's going on, not to say that to be aware of it, but focus is different than being aware of something. Okay? I know something is going on, but I'm not going to make that my focus. My focus is to magnify the end result, which is where I'm living from. In every moment of the day, I am living from that desired outcome. even though all these other things or distractions are going on, I'm living from the end all day long, every day, until the bridges of incidents will lead me there. You understand? But when things are starting to go awry, it's just that it's setting you up for something better, something different. And all I'm saying is to become conscious of it and not to lose, what they say, lose faith. Because this is where you lose. Faith really here just means you lose focus on your desire. So now you have no turn instead of inwardly, which is where you will focus on your desire because it's you're seeing it from within. You turn outwardly now to all of the stuff that's going on. You understand? And you've now transferred your power to an external source. And once you do that, you no longer have the power to control what's going on because you've transferred it elsewhere. So you have to hold on to that power at all times, no matter what's going on. You have to keep it to yourself, within yourself, and be patient. And within a matter of time, you will see the difference. You will see the purpose of all the changes that were being made, at the time. And that is going to take you to your desire anyways. You understand? You're going to always find yourself in a better place than you were prior to having the disturbance or the desire that you may have had. Okay. So that's what I was conveying to my friend, just letting her know that you know, you're not so wise in your conscious mind to know what's going to happen because she was just explaining that a bunch of stuff is going, topsy-turvy, helter-skelter, with buying a house and this and that and the third. And I was like, these are, as you're planning things, there's a better way that's being planned, that's being worked out for you. Okay. So focus on the house. I told her to live, you know, you and your hubby live in the house from now. You know what the house look like. What I used to do, I just go there and visit the place over and over. It makes it easier for you to live from the end if you can visit these places physically, touch the wall, touch the doors, all these different things. I used to do that with my barbershop and with my house that I had bought at the time. So you're just staying in the mood and keeping the focus. And the bridges of incidents will work out to where you're going to get the house. When I got my first house, I had no business getting a house, zero. I was not in the position to get the house at all. Only one working and no credit, terrible credit, but I still got the house. So only because my focus was on the house at all times, despite all of what was going on. I don't have time to tell you guys all the stuff that was going on then, but 9/11 was one of those things that happened at that time. You understand? But within my personal life, credit, all type of foolishness. I had no business getting a house. I didn't have the right job, but I ended up losing that job. Consciously, I did. That's not what I wanted, but I lost the job. But I got a job paying me twice as much in within a week after losing that job, and I was able to buy the house. You understand? So that's my point. Things are going to happen that you don't want to have happen, but they're happening for the better of your desire. You will not see it. Do not use these eyes. Do not use these ears. Don't use your five senses to judge by outward appearances. You have to judge from within. Don't judge anything that's going on out there. Judge from within, meaning to keep the focus on your desire at all times. Okay? Live from the end, and a way in which you know not will manifest your desire. So that's what Neville was telling this young lady, that geographically, you have the wrong focus. Do not live on the outside, live on the inside. Bring your desire inward not outward. Bring it here. It's an eternal now. Keep the focus there. And in a time that you are not even expecting it to happen, the bridges of incidents will walk you to your desire. And it will become, it will be in your possessions physically, but you have to possess it first psychologically. That's the first thing you have to possess, is a psychological reality, which is the only reality, your consciousness. All right. You have to possess it there. And in time, it will manifest where you can have the experience. All right. So just wanted to touch on that briefly before we go, but we're going to let the tape run some more, and I'll be back to expound on this some more.
Remembering them. You are not reaching towards something foreign. You are returning to something that has always been yours. This changes everything. If your desire already exists, not in tomorrow, not in some imagined future, but now, in the eternal fabric of consciousness, then there is no distance to cross. There is only a veil to lift. There is only a recognition to make. You are not traveling toward your destiny. You are waking up to it. A businessman came to me once, broad-shouldered and defeated in equal measure. He wanted to build a company worth millions. He had almost nothing. The experts, and how he had listened to the experts, told him to expect 10 years of grinding, building, struggling. Neville, he said, I look at where I want to be and where I am now, and the distance terrifies me. I stopped him there. Tell me something, I said. When you look at a great oak tree, do you say it still has a long journey before it becomes an oak? Or do you understand that the oak already exists perfectly, completely within the acorn? He went quiet. You are the acorn, my friend. But you insist on measuring yourself as if you were a seed trying to become something foreign. You are not becoming a success. You are a success presently unexpressed. Stop trying to travel toward the oak. Start living as the oak that you already are. I taught him one thing, to stop feeling like a man at the beginning of a long road, and to start feeling like a man at the perfect point in an inevitable unfolding. He did not change his strategy. He changed his state. Within 2 years, not 10, the company existed, exactly as he had envisioned. But what he told me afterward was more profound than any revenue figure. Neville, he said, it never felt like I was trying to win. It felt like I was simply allowing what already was to become visible. That is what it feels like when you close the time gap. Not victory, recognition. Now I must speak plainly about why so many people fail at this, even those who understand it intellectually. Understanding is not enough. You can nod along with everything I am saying tonight. You can write it in a journal, you can repeat it to friends over dinner, and still the moment you wake up tomorrow, your body will carry the old vibration, the heavy, tired energy of someone who still has so far to go. Because the time gap is not closed in the mind. It is closed in the body, in the feeling, in the invisible signature that you broadcast with every breath, every glance, every heartbeat. There is a feeling, you know it, when you have just arrived home after a long journey. Your shoulders drop. Your jaw unclenches. A quiet settles over you. Not excitement, not hope. Something deeper. Peace, certainty, completion. That is the feeling of arrival. And that feeling is available to you right now before a single outer circumstance has changed. Before the relationship appears. Before the contract is signed. Before the body heals. Before the bank account shifts. The outer world does not create that feeling. That feeling creates the outer world. I knew a young man who wanted to be a professional musician. Everyone around him kindly, logically, with genuine concern, told him it would take years. Build skills, build connections, build reputation. The road was long. He made a decision that, to those around him, seemed almost delusional. He decided he already was a musician. Not that he would be. Not that he was becoming one. He was one presently in the process of being fully expressed. He did not wait for a record deal to feel like a professional. He felt like a professional at 2 a.m. in his bedroom, playing for no one. He did not wait for money to arrive before he carried himself with dignity and mastery. He carried it now. 18 months later, the record deal came. And when it did, this is what he told me, it felt less like breaking through a door and more like opening one that had already been unlocked. That is what closing the time gap feels like. Not a miracle, a remembering. I want to be precise about something, because this teaching is often misunderstood. Closing the time gap does not mean you stop acting. It means you stop straining. There is a world of difference between the actions of a person who is desperately trying to get somewhere urgent, anxious, grasping, and the actions of a person who knows they have already arrived and is simply allowing that arrival to become visible. One acts from hunger, the other acts from abundance. One works from fear that it might not happen. The other moves from the quiet certainty that it cannot not happen. When you close the time gap, your actions do not disappear. They become inspired, precise, unhurried, powerful in a way that frantic effort never is. So tonight, I give you this invitation. Sit quietly right where you are and ask yourself honestly, where in my life am I carrying the weight of someone who still has a long way to go? Where are you treating your desires as distant cities and yourself as a weary traveler who hasn't yet earned arrival? Find that place. And then gently, without force, begin to practice something radical. Arrive. Not later. Not when the circumstances change. Now. Feel what it would feel like to have already crossed the distance you fear. Let your shoulders drop. Let the urgency dissolve. Let yourself rest in the extraordinary truth that your desired life does not live in the future. It lives in the eternal now, waiting not to be reached, but to be seen. The gap between you and your desires is not made of time, it is made of recognition. Close it and watch how quickly the world rearranges itself around the new truth of who you are. You do not need to travel, you only need to wake up. You were already there, you simply forgot. This is Never Lectures. I'll see you again in the next.
All right. So let's go over that a little bit again. You heard on this video or slash audio, he keeps talking about we're putting our desires at distance between us. Whatever that desire may be. It doesn't have to be a location. It could be a thing, a car, a house, a retirement, if job or fund or whatever. Anything that comes to our mind, we put these things distantly away from us. They're at distance from us, because we see the hardship or the challenge that they create, you know. So we think it's a challenge because with the conscious mind are always trying to figure things out because that's how we've been conditioned, that there is a difficulty in attaining what we desire. There really are no difficulties except the belief that there is, and so we are very good at accepting or believing that it's going to be difficult, when in reality it really is not. It's difficult because you believe it to be so. So whatever you believe to be so, that's what's going to transpire. And likewise, if you believe it's going to be smooth and certain or easy, it's also going to be so. Remember in the New Testament when Jesus was performing any miracles, or whether it be healing someone or raising someone from the dead, which he's done that to several individuals in the Bible, he never made it seem difficult, and the reason being because he said that I and my Father are one. No, he also said that nothing is difficult or impossible to God. And if he makes himself one with his Father, who is God, then how is it going to be difficult for him if he has made himself one with the Father? You understand? So the programming that we've received over the years coming up is what's causing us to accept these difficulties, because we have not made ourselves one with the Father or our consciousness, because we think that it depends on who you are, where you are, what you know, who you know, all these different things that we've used to determine if we're going to have or get something or not. When in reality, there isn't anything that you cannot not get. Again, except that you believe that you are not going to get it or it is difficult. So wherever you place your consciousness in that thing is what is you're going to get. We're more confident that we're not going to get something than we are that we're going to get it. Think about that one. We are more confident that we are not going to get something more than we are that we are going to get it. As a matter of fact, we should have a different conception or perception of how we think about things in the first place. We shouldn't think we're going to get something. We should think that we already have it. Hence the topic today, everything you seek, you have already found. Okay? Everything you seek, you have already found. So if you're thinking it think about it like that, that means you already have it. It means you already have it. If you're seeking something and you've already found and it's already found because you seek it, then it means you already have it. There's a scripture that says, to he that hath, okay? It is basically say to he that have. So to he that hath, I will give unto thee. But to he that hath not, I will take from him all that he has. You understand? What does that mean? The person who conceptualize or perceive the thing desired, that you already have it, you will get it. Okay? If you conceptualize it that you have it already in your consciousness, and your consciousness being the only reality, that means that if it's in your consciousness, it has to be a reality, because consciousness is the only or the one and only reality. So if it is in your consciousness and you know you have it there, then you will be given it, because you know, you know, to your own self that you already have it. Okay? But to the person who think they don't have it, to he that does not have it, from him I will take everything that he has. It just simply means that you don't think you have it, so you are already taking it away from yourself. No one is taking it from you but yourself. There is no God in the scripture that's saying that he is going to come and take away from you what you don't have, even what you don't have. It is you, your own self, either giving it to yourself by saying to yourself that I have it because I seek it, or because I seek it, I've already found it, or if I had not found it, I would not have sought it. That's what you're saying, really? To you, you're going to have whatever you desire. You're going to give it to yourself. But if you have the opposite, saying that, boy, I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna have that, or I don't see how it's going to happen, I don't see the way. You're not, in that sense, no, you're not seeking, because you don't think you have it, so you're not going to seek. So you're telling yourself, I don't have it. So what's going to happen is you're taking away that possibility from yourself. You, your own self, is taking it from yourself. No one else is. Yeah, someone may come and make it difficult and express to you or show to you the reason why it's not possible. Some things might happen, some things might go down to convince you. You may have lose some money. you know, in some investment or physically lose some money. I don't know. Something may happen that is going to convince you that, see there, this is even worse now. I'm definitely not going to go. You understand? And because you have that perception, something played out to express to you the what you conceptualize to be true for you, because you wouldn't conceptualize it if it was not true for you. You would think it's true. And so something gonna come, someone's gonna come, some event, something is going to play that out in your world to convince you that you are right. And imagine the same way that can play out that you are right, the 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 negative perception of your desire. If that can play out, then so can the positive perception of it happening. But why we struggle with that is because of all the years of our minds being programmed, our subconscious mind being programmed to accept defeat, to accept loss, to accept hardship, our struggles, to do anything. Anytime you tell yourself it is easy or it is um, not difficult or I already have it, your program that's in your subconscious is going to pop its head up and remind you that no, you don't. You're lying to yourself. You know you don't have it. You know it's hard. You know it's going to be a difficult task. That's what's reminding you. Because every time you say something to yourself, you hear another voice comes up right away and remind you. But how? Yazan, or where, or when? Don't you see what's going on right now? There's no way of escaping that voice is going to come. But just know that it's part of the process. These are just programs that pops up every time you have a desire. That you have the desire, but you don't have the means to get the desire. And so as soon as you say, man, I would love to go on a trip to, to Japan or wherever, to Dubai. I just want to get away. Right away, you're going to start looking at how much it's going to cost. Can't leave the job right now. All of what's going on. All these things are going to come to you. You have programs within your subconscious that you have put there years and years ago, ever since childhood, or even within young adulthood and stuff like that, and even recently, that are going to pop up and remind you that it's not possible. But you have to understand that that is the process, and you have to shut it down and proceed. Nonetheless, proceed in your desire, because the further you proceed, or the longer you proceed, or the more consistently you proceed towards your desire, the lower and lower that voice is going to become. Because you're walking away from it. You're going out way into the distance. It's not going to follow you. It doesn't follow you is because you're not moving. Why it appears that it is following you, but you're not moving away from it. You're listening. You're listening to it. You understand? So it's not something that you can outrun necessarily, but it's something that you can consciously turn off and keep it at bay and keep your focus on your desire that you need to accomplish. Give me a second here, guys. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had to attend to something real quickly. So let's see if Sir T is back. Oh, Sir T is still busy with with work. Mr. Sunshine, what's going on?
Oh, oh, good day. I was already unmuted. I wanted to add on to what you're saying, just as far as the confidence and belief. And
Hmm.
I really believe the root of it is something I've touched on for, you know, multiple times I've joined the discussion here. It's stinking thinking.
Hmm.
Your confidence is lowered because your self-talk tends to be negative. You let that little voice that of doubt enter far too often and become far too loud in what's going on. So when you actually train yourself, and it's a habit that has to be used every day, every moment, to
Hmm.
not focus on what could not happen or may not happen or why it won't happen or anything. You have to focus on the possibilities that it might. 99.9% of the time, you think something doesn't or something bad will happen, it doesn't. But we let our mind spend that 99.9% on that negative and false outcome.
There you go.
We've really got to always find the positive in whatever's going on,
Hmm.
even with the way people speak to you. That's one of the key things. People tend to take things, particularly when it's over text, in whatever voice of their emotion right in that moment. If they have a negative emotion, they will take that statement as something negative. If they have a positive emotion, they'll take it as something positive. But it's all in how you frame it and how you put it. Even if somebody is cursing you up and down, it's the energy that you allow those words to have. Because if they were doing that in another language and you didn't know what the words meant, you wouldn't know what the expected reaction would be, so you wouldn't give it to them. So that
Hmm.
shows that you have a choice to how you react to things. Even if you know the meaning of the words and you know their intent, you can choose a different way to receive them and flip it back on them so it doesn't stick to you. Somebody
True.
explained it this way. If somebody gives you a gift and you don't accept it, who gets that gift?
The
The person that was handed you. They get it
person,
right back.
they give it right back to them. Yeah.
Exactly. So no
Hmm.
matter what somebody has given you, if you don't take it, it won't come to you, and it stays with them. And that's
Hmm.
the foundation of having confidence in what you do. Because once you actually change that thinking about yourself, everything else becomes more possible and becomes easier to do
Yeah.
because you begin to believe in yourself, you believe in your words, and you're building your self-confidence more than you're building into potential outcomes. And you have to have that self-confidence and that self-belief and that positive mental attitude as a foundation for anything else to work.
Hmm. Absolutely true, Mr. Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Mr. Sunshine, bringing the sunshine. We haven't seen you in a while because I know you're a busy man,
Yeah, I'm
taking care of
actually on my
business.
way to a job right now, but I got some windshield
Hmm.
time and the timing worked out. So I'll be with you for a bit.
There you go. There you go. But thank you for your word of wisdom, and you are absolutely right. You have the decision, you have the last word, as they would say, to accept or entertain an outcome that is not what you desire. You have the option to turn your back to it, to look to the hills, as we're told to do in scripture. Notice two things scriptures mention that people kind of overlook or misconstrue. One thing it mentioned every time you have a tough time or some kind of a challenge or whatever, you are beckoned to look up into the hills, head up into the hills, okay? And then it refers to mountains. Also, the mountains represents, a challenge, a hardship, something difficult that's in front of you, okay? You are told to believe to have the faith of a mustard seed, and therefore, if you do, you can look at the mountain and tell the mountain to and cast the mountain into the sea. Now, that's metaphorically speaking, but it is absolutely true. Your desire can sometimes seem to be a mountain. Your desire, every time you have a desire, it might appear to be like a mountain. So you have to then initiate the wisdom of a mustard seed, or the faith of a mustard seed, which is only faithful as a mustard seed because that's all it can be. It is only a mustard seed. It does not know of anything else to be other than a mustard seed. So its faith is sealed and concrete within itself. And the only outcome it can be is a mustard tree. Okay? So it is absolutely faithful. So what it's saying here is when you have a desire, which has within it the way of to express itself. Okay? It's a seed and it knows how to express itself. But the one desiring sees it as a mountain, or sees the problems or challenges, hardship of getting to the desire. So you've put this mountain in front of your desire. And if you just have the same faith or wisdom of said desire, because the desire itself contains within it the ability of self-expression. You understand? It has its own way of self-expression, but it cannot express itself until you remove the mountain that's between you and the seed. Until you remove that mountain and cast it into the sea, it will always be there and your desire will not be manifested. So you have to ascend up into the hills. The hills is just you ascending to a higher awareness. The awareness you're ascending to here, in this example, is the awareness of the seed itself. That the seed contains within itself its own way of self-expression. So you have to ascend to that level of awareness and stay right there. Kind of like Rahab, which means spirit of the father, or you can say spirit of the seed, spirit of the desire. Whatever you desire, you have to have the spirit of it. The word spirit just means life, or to give life. It's what expresses, the spirit is what expresses life, or express a thing that you desire. So you conceptualize it psychologically, but you have to catch the spirit or the mood. You understand? And that, once you live in that sense of awareness, the means, the ways, the how, the when, the where, all these different things are going to come together and lead you to the desire that you're seeking. Okay? So ascend to the hills, or do not also look back like Lot's wife, which is to pay attention to your hardships or your struggles that you had before, or that you really intimately know. You're to turn your back to these things. They have no bearing on your desire that you have right now. That's something that happened. That's in the past. Do not put that in front of you. Do not turn around and face it. Turn your back to it. Put in front of you only your desire. Okay? If you turn around, you're going to be frozen with the concept of loss, or the concept of hardship, or the concept of failure. You're going to be frozen in that state because you've turned your back to the possibilities of self-expression. and you're facing now hardship, difficulty, challenges, all these things become real to you, and you cannot move. Once you come upon the hardship, whatever it is you call hardship, once you come upon it, you're frozen. You can't move because in your mind, until you get over that, you can't go any further. So you're frozen like a pillar of salt, like Lot's wife. You understand? And so um, we're told to head to the hills, and that's where Lot was headed when he left Sodom and Gomorrah. He was heading up into the hills behind Abraham. You understand? And his wife chose to stop and was frozen. Now let's look at this story right here real quickly that I never talked about. And this is where we're stuck. I'm going to read to this section right here and probably stop it right there. Okay, when I get to it, you will see. So he says, tonight's lesson is the capstone of the Bible. So do give me your attention. Okay, the most important question asked in the Bible will be found in the 16th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew. As you know, all of the Bible stories are your stories. Its characters live only in the mind of man. They have no reference at all to any person who lived in time and space or any event that ever occurred upon earth. So what Neville is saying there is that the Bible is not a history book. It's a book of mind science, like Reverend Ike like to say. It's a book of psychology. It's a book of metaphors, parables, symbology, even astrology. You understand? It's not a book of history. We say it here on the One Great I Am, the Bible is true, but it is not real. It is true because it's talking about the principles of the mind. It is not real because it's not talking about history. Okay? All the persons mentioned in the Bible are characteristics or personifications of your own consciousness. That's the only place they exist. And you are given the autonomy or the divinity to hire or to assume these characters at your leisure, depending on the desire that you're having and stuff like that. So the stories are really telling you the same thing over and over using different names or characters, but they're all leading to the same place. So it says right here that the drama related in Matthew takes place in this manner. Jesus turns to his disciples and asks them, who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? Matthew 16, verse 13. And they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist. Some say Elias, and others Jeremiah, are one of the prophets. He said unto them, but whom say he that I am? And Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah. Bar-Jonah, this means son of Jonah. Son of Jonah. For flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And we are told that heaven is within you. Okay? So when Jesus was talking about this heaven, he wasn't talking about a place out there in space. He was talking about within himself. And what's within you? What's this heaven? That is your consciousness. All right? And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, which means rock. And upon this rock I will build my church. Matthew 16, verse 14 to 18. Jesus returning to his disciples is man turning to his disciplined mind in self-contemplation. I say that again. Jesus turning to his disciples is man turning to his disciplined mind in self-contemplation. He was asking his disciples, who do you say that I am? This is you contemplating within yourself. Okay? Remember, the conscious mind represents the disciples. So you're saying to the conscious mind, which is now disciplined, you're going from Simon to Simon Peter. When you become surnamed Peter, you're now disciplined, right? So this is why they're using Peter in this reference. Notice they did not use any other disciple to answer to Jesus. It was Simon, because he's the first gatekeeper. He represents hearing, hence the name Simon. And when you discipline your hearing, you are now surnamed, or which are second nature. You have a second nature now. That's what surname means. To become a rock, which is in the symbology, or symbolically means to be unmoved by any circumstances you may hear going on out there in the world. You are unmoved. Everybody's going to come and tell you what's happening and what's not going to happen. And we've all been through that. I went through that with my daughter 25 years ago when she was born. All kind of foolishness was told to me at the time, and it went through one ear and out the other. You understand? I was a rock who refused to be moved. Okay? So you have to discipline your hearing. So when you turn to yourself, you're turning to the disciplined mind in self-contemplation. You ask yourself the question, whom do men say that I am? In our language, I wonder what men think of me. Your answer, some say John, come again, some say Elias, others say Jeremiah, and still others, a prophet of old, come again. It is very flattering to be told that you are, or that you are, or that you resemble the great men of the past, but enlightened reasoning is not enslaved by public opinion. Your consciousness is enlightened reasoning. It is only concerned with the truth, so it asks itself another question, but whom say he that I am? In other words, who am I? Okay, this is the greatest question, or as Never says it right here, the capstone. Okay, the most important question asked in the Bible. When Jesus asked who do men say that I am, he's really asking, who am I? Right? If I am bold enough to assume that I am Christ Jesus, the answer will come back, thou art the Christ. Okay? What is it saying here, guys? It is really saying that if you're bold enough to accept your desire, that it is now with you, it is concrete, it is a present reality, it is in the state of awareness. You are aware of it, you are being it, you are experiencing it. It's going to come back and answer to you in the same state that you claim it to be. In other words, if you dress up in front of the mirror is going to give back to you what you put on. So what are you clothing what are you conceptualizing in your mind, or whatever you conceptualize in your mind, that's what your consciousness is going to give back to you. If you say, I am John the Baptist, I am Elias, I am these people, and stuff like that, if you agree with that, that's what it's going to give you. You understand? But these concepts or these people have no power. So if you say to yourself that I am Christ, the anointed one, or the reasoning mind, or the power to give birth to all my desires, if you conceptualize yourself that that's who you are, that's what's going to come back to you. Thou art the Christ, because you're claiming yourself to be that, and anything you claim yourself to be that's what you're going to get. Okay? When I can assume it and feel it and boldly live it, I will say to myself, flesh and blood could not have told me this, but my Father which is in heaven revealed it unto me. Then I make this concept of self the rock on which I establish my church or my world. All right? So anytime you tell yourself that I am the Christ, that I am the anointed one, that I am the imagination, that I am, or whatever I tell myself I am, that's what I am. That is where you build your church. That's where you establish your church. That's where you establish your world. Everything is done is done there. And it's done only by you and none other. If you believe not that I am he shall die in your sins. If you believe not that I am he shall die in your sins. What that is saying is if you don't believe that your desire or the thing that you seek, right? If you don't believe that you have it, that you are it, you're saying to yourself, I am that I am. Everything you seek, you're saying that that's what you are. That's what you're saying when you say, I am that I am. Everything you seek, you're saying, I am that. I am the house. I am the car. I am the new job. I am all these different things. If you don't believe that the thing that you say that you are, if you believe not that you are it, you will die in your sins, which means that you will remain in the state that you now are, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. You shall die in your sins. John 8:24. Okay? Because consciousness is the only reality, I must assume that I am already that which I desire to be. If I do not believe that I am already what I want to be, then I remain as I am and die in this limitation. Man is always looking for some prop on which to lean. He is always looking for some excuse to justify failure. This revelation gives man no excuse for failure. His concept of himself is the cause of all the circumstances of his life. You hear that, guys? Your concept of yourself is the cause of all the circumstances of your life. In other words, whatever you conceive in your mind is the only thing you're going to give birth to. Remember, you are the womb of creation. You are consciousness. So whatever you conceive within your consciousness, that is the only thing you can give birth to. Nothing else. Just like how a woman gets pregnant, she can only give birth to a human being. You might expect something else, but that's the only thing that's coming out. You may not know the sex, but it's going to be human. You understand? So the same thing we're saying here. All changes must first come from within himself. And if he does not change on the outside, it is because he has not changed within. Again, if he does not change on the outside, it is because he has not changed from within or from the inside. It is saying there that to change the experience, you have to change your concept. You understand? Of yourself. To change whatever experience you're having. If you cannot change the outside, it's already an experience you're having now. If you can't change it, or if it doesn't change, sorry, if it does not change, it's because you have not changed your concept of yourself. If you see yourself as only limited to this experience, then you will be limited to this experience. If you see yourself having a better experience or a different or the opposite of, meaning if you find yourself jobless and you conceive yourself to have a job, you will have the job. But if you continue to conceive that I have no job, I am jobless, and you're on this rant that you have no job, then you're going to remain jobless. You're going to die in your sins. You understand? So, but man does not like to feel that he is solely responsible for the conditions of his life. From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. That is saying that they did not want to accept, man does not want to accept that we are responsible for our outcomes in our lives. So when we're told that you are the cause, you're going to be offensive. You're going to be offended, and you're going to go on the offensive, and you're going to say, no, it's not so. It's because of the economy. It's because of the president. It's because of this and that and the third. You're going to conceptualize everything else as the cause except yourself. And so if you find that to be your reality, then you cannot be around. You're not going to be in alignment with your consciousness, who is the cause. You're not going to be in alignment with it because you are going against the principle. So this is you walking away to no longer walk with Christ, who is enlightened reasoning. You know, can't walk with enlightened reasoning, as we said last week, with your bad expectations or all your different conceptions in life and stuff like that. If you put it in front of enlightened reasoning, it cannot live. So you have to stay away from enlightened reasoning, because enlightened reasoning is going to put the onus back on you. And you don't want that. You want to accept all your limitations to be the fault of society, the government, the president. All these different people are responsible for your downfall, except for you yourself. You understand? So that's what it is saying right here. Okay. So from that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. Then Jesus said unto the 12, will he also go away? Then Simon Peter answered him, Simon again, he's now surnamed Peter. Then Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life. This is John 6, verse 66 to 68. I may not live what I have just heard. I may not like, what I have just heard, that I must turn to my own consciousness as the only reality, the only foundation on which all phenomena can be explained. It was easier living when I could blame another. It was so much easier living when I could blame society for my ills or point a finger across the sea and blame another nation. It was easier living when I could blame the weather for the way I feel. But to tell me that I am the cause of all that happens to me, that I am forever molding my world in harmony with my inner nature, that is more than man is willing to accept. If this is true, to whom would I go? If these are the words of eternal life, I must return to them, even though they seem too difficult to digest. So it is saying that your enlightened reasoning is saying that, your concept of yourself are the cause of your phenomena of life. Then if you stay in that belief that it is not you and it is someone else, you're going to continue to die in your sins. However, if you follow enlightened reasoning, you will free yourself, you will save yourself. So that's when Peter says, well, to whom else should we go? The wisdom of life, the Christ, you have everything that will set us free. So we can't follow anyone else because you know all that there is to know. You understand? You are the life-giving spirit. So we're not going to follow our concept of ourselves anymore. We're going to follow you. As a matter of fact, there is nowhere else to go to get ahead. All right. But in the meantime, you do not like this truth. You don't want to accept the truth, but you have no choice but to accept it, because as you continue believing someone else is your cause or something else is the cause, your life is going to remain the same or worsen. You will not get anywhere until you accept the fact, the truth, that you are the cause of the phenomena of your own life, not anyone else. All right? So it says, when man fully understands this, he knows that the public opinion does not matter, for men only tell him who he is. The behavior of men constantly tells me who I have conceived myself to be. If I accept this challenge and begin to live by it, I finally reach the point that is called the great prayer of the Bible. It is related in the 17th chapter of the Gospel of John. I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do. John 7:17, verse 4. And now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was. Okay? And now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. Those that thou gavest me I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition. John 17:12. It is impossible for anything to be lost. In this divine economy, your consciousness, nothing can be lost. Okay? It cannot even pass away. The little flower which has bloomed once blooms forever. It is invisible to you here with your limited focus, but it blooms forever in the larger dimension of your being, and tomorrow you will encounter it. All that thou gavest me I have kept in my name, and none have I lost save the son of perdition. I was always confused what the hell this mean. The son of perdition means simply the belief in loss. The word son means or is a concept, an idea. Perdido means loss. I have only truly lost the concept of loss, for nothing can be lost. So what it's saying here is that when you believe that your desires are unreachable or cannot be reached, is because you believe that they cannot be reached. They are not unreachable, except that you believe that they are. That's what it's saying. They cannot be lost, except that you believe that they're lost. In other words, if you lose your job and you believe that you can never find another one, then and you don't find it, it's because you had believed. Like I hear people looking for a job for months, but it's because they believe they can't find it. And when you talk to them, they say, "Boy, I can't find a job. No job, no day. The economy this, the economy that." It's only because they believe in it. You understand? It's only because a consciousness is attached to it. So when the scripture tells you that it is impossible for anything to be lost in this divine economy, and nothing can even pass away, or it says that while I was in the world with them, I kept them in my name, or in thy name. Those that thou gavest me I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, except the belief in loss. So nothing can be lost. John 17, verse 12 tells you, while you are in this world, you, consciousness, while you are in this world, not the flesh, consciousness, while you are here, I kept them in thy name, in thy nature, right? Those that thou gavest me, I have kept. All the desires, as you come here as consciousness, you have kept. None of them is gone. Nothing is lost. They are always with you because you are consciousness. you are aware of all things. Okay? And none of them is lost but the son of perdition, meaning that the only way something is lost is because I believe it was lost. In other words, my conception of a thing, my perception of a thing creates that thing. But in reality, there is no loss. I only lose it because I conceived it to be so. I perceived it to be so. And that's why it became so. Otherwise, it is not so. You understand? So the very essence of this is you have all things that you seek. Everything that you seek is already found. Okay? Everything that you seek is already within you. That's why it is found. You're only seeking everything that you already have. And all you're choosing really is the possibility or possibilities of its manifestation. You're just choosing the possibilities. You know? You're not choosing if it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. You understand? The possibilities come from your assumption that it is fact. And once you assume that it is fact, as scripture says, if it takes 1,000 men to come to your aid to make this true, then 1,000 men will come. These are just exaggeration with the number 1,000. Okay? But it is true. Whatever it's going to take for your desire to come, because you accept that you have it for real, and it is now present in your world, even though your five senses will deny it, in your own divine imagination, you see it, you have it. And if you see it in your imagination and you accept that it is true, then whatever is to aid you in having it will be initiated, will come. You understand? It will happen like a thief in the night. You cannot and will not be able to devise the way in which your desire is going to manifest. Because the conscious mind is for desiring. It's not for expressing. It's not for bringing about your desire. It does not know how to do that. That's like asking a man to both impregnate himself and have the baby. It's not gonna happen. All the man can do is impregnate. The woman, okay, is the one that can bring forth the concept of what was put inside her, whether it be boy or girl. You understand? Only she can do it. So the conscious mind is now represented here by the man. And its only job is to impregnate, is to convince, is to assume the mood, okay, of the wish fulfilled. But you cannot bring forth the wish fulfilled as the conscious mind. You can only conjure up the mood, the assumption, but the greater aspect of you, okay, your higher self, will aid you in bringing it forth. That is the womb of creation that knows the ways, the means, the how of bringing forth your desire. But you first consciously you have to make the first move, okay? You have to put your clothes on first before the mirror can show you anything, okay? You go first, and then everything else follows your move or mood in this aspect. That's why your mood have to be steadfast, because if 1 minute you're happy or excited, and the next minute you're down or dejected, um, it's going to be all over the place. Okay, it's coming and it's going. It's coming and it's going. 1 step forward, 2 step backward. I mean, it's like this. It's like a wave coming in on shore and going back out, coming on shore and going back out. It's not coming forward or staying. So you have to stay focused on the desire at all times, no matter what's going on. Okay? It says right here that I can descend from the sphere where the thing itself now lives, and as I descend in consciousness to a lower level within myself, it passes from my world. So you can look at this in two ways. You have something right now, and it's an expression or experience. All you have to do is take away you have to descend from it. Take away your consciousness away from it, because your consciousness, our attention, is what's keeping it alive. And once you do that, it will die and wither away. It will pass away. Here's what it says here, though. I say I have lost my health. I have lost my wealth. I have lost my standing in the community. I have lost my faith. I have lost thousands of things, but the things in themselves, having once been really my world, can never cease to be. They never become unreal with the passage of time. What is it saying there? I, by my descent in consciousness to a lower level, cause these things to disappear from my sight. They have gone. They are finished as far as my world goes. All I need to do is ascend to the level where they are eternal, meaning that where they always live. And they once more objectify themselves and appear as realities within my world. Okay? So it is saying there, guys, that nothing is never lost, or nothing is never out of reach or gone. In other words, you may have lost a job or lost something because your attention to it was not the same. And then now you lost it and you think you can't get it back or can't get anything else back, which is not true. All you have to do is ascend to the same attention you once had when you had that job or had a job. All you have to do is go back to what mood or assumption you were in, when you got that job. And once you ascend to that mood, you will be hired again. You understand? But because that job is never lost, you lose it. Yes, you no longer work there, but you're never out of a job except the belief that you are out of a job. All you have to do is ascend in consciousness that you have one. You understand? And live there. Keep your attention there. And in time, over time, it will be manifested. It will come again because you've gone back to its eternal state where it always lives. It's an eternal state. It is, you only have it because the state is eternal. Every state that you experience, they are eternal. You understand? They always exist, but you enter them when you become aware of them, and you leave them when you no longer desire them, when you no longer attend to them. Okay? If you don't attend to your flock, your sheep, a wolf is going to come and devour them. So something like that. You are no longer attending to what you have. Something is going to come and cause it to be dissolved. You understand? But if you want it to remain, you attend to it. Or if you want to go back to it after so-called losing it, all you have to do is go back to the um the eternal state that it is. Have that level of awareness, and you'll be right back there. So that's why the scripture says, nothing can be lost except for the son of perdition. The son of perdition just means the belief that you have lost and that you have lost something. And so therefore, if you believe that you've lost something, you're never going to regain it. You know, which is interesting, because it's never lost, it's there, but it remains lost in your world because you believe that it is gone. So you have to tell yourself, no matter what it is. Florence Coverson said she was in a car and something like that, and she lost a pen, something like that. And she just said to herself, I did not lose the pen. I think it fell out the car somewhere. And she said, I did not lose it. Anyway, she got to where she was going. And later on, somebody came by and gave her a pen. You know, was it the same pen? No, but she regained the pen because she never believed that she lost the pen. You understand the point? She did not believe she lost it. Now, had she believed that she lost it, trust me, nobody would have showed up with the pen, or they would have showed up with the pen and not given it to her. But her concept of the circumstances around her caused her to regain what she had once lost. So therefore, nothing can be lost except for the son of perdition, except for the belief in loss. That's the only time you lose anything. Okay? So, so I'm going to stop there and just remind us, all of us, that, everything that we seek is something that we've already found because it's eternal. It's within you, and it cannot be anywhere else but within you. Okay? And to believe that it is hard to receive or to get is only because you believe that it is. The belief in hardship, the belief in the son of perdition, the belief that it's difficult. That's the only way. All right? So, look like Sir T is still busy, but that's all right. We're going to go ahead and end our program here today. But thank you all for joining. Thank you for being here. We're going to post this in the room at some point today. But thank you for your attention, and I hope it all made sense. And it's one more level of awareness that we have now affirmed and come to agree with, that everything that we seek, we already have it. Everything we seek is already found. We only seek it because we have already found it, because we have it within ourselves. All right. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your day. And we'll see you next week. Oh, no, next week I will not be here. We will not be here next week. So, but we'll post it in the room when we're going to resume. Okay.